We are live. It is the December 3rd Urban Economic Development Committee meeting. I'm Councilor Bellis chairing this meeting. First item on the agenda, I call this meeting to order. Second item, Leanne Helmrich, reappointment to the Tulsa City County Library Commission. Term expires July 31st, 2028. Had really good attendance from Council District 9. If you want to join us at any chair you see open.
Where do you want me?
Oh, here, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm bearing gifts.
Oh,
today.
wow.
These are our,
As long as they're under a certain dollar amount,
They
we
are.
can.
35.
well, I didn't actually, yeah, I'm
No,
not
I'm
sure
just
how much they paid, but these are our fast facts for the library.
Oh.
So you guys-
They're
it's,
So these are
Okay.
priceless.
So
We can accept
I
it.
know.
We can accept this.
I think so, I hope so.
This is
Oh,
cute.
it should.
Oh
I'll
my
leave them
gosh.
if you guys want some more too.
This is great.
These are great.
These are so great.
Just in case people think, oh, do people really go to the library?
Well, we have one of the best library
Yes,
systems in the
we
country.
do.
Really do.
Yes,
Well,
we do.
yeah, if you wouldn't mind telling us a bit about your experience serving, why you'd like to continue serving, if there's anything you want to highlight about the library to us, please let us
Okay.
know. Because we do have the literal best library system in the nation. So.
That would be a really good reason. I mean, I love it. It's such a privilege for me. And, at a time when we get bad publicity about education in our state and everything, we've got this library that's a beacon of all sorts of experiences, learning, reading, community, everything, and it's a real privilege for me to be a part of it. So,
Thank you so much for your service. Is there anything that you guys are currently kind of working on that you think we should know about, or that you're want to continue working on?
well, we're in a capital campaign right now, which is, I really am looking forward to finishing that out. So we're building 4 new libraries in the system, and our system is so interesting because, and it's different than a lot of systems in the country, in that we aren't just one building, we're 24. And we're all over the county, and so I would encourage you, we just opened the new Brookside Library, and it's just magical. And then we're working on the new Rudisill, and Kim Johnson is just exceptional, and she thinks of everything in advance. I'll say, oh, have we done this? And she's just said, yep, we've already done that, done this, done that. But they're very careful about keeping the libraries open until there's a switch, because they're mindful of how important they are for the community. And the stories that we get from the staff and people are just really heartwarming, and how much the library means to the community. We're also have broken ground in Owasso, and that's exciting because it's going to be a multi-use, so there's apartments. It's going to be incredible. And then we're also going to build a new one in Broken Arrow. So it's a big project, and it's exciting. It's exciting, and it's just incredible to see. It feels like we just broke ground in Brookside, and now it's open. And it's just such a joy. So anyway,
So wonderful.
anything else?
Yeah, any follow-up questions?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
I
thank
just
you.
love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you.
continuation of service. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, my
It's-
my 4-year-old just became a library card
Oh, I
holder. She's
love
very
that.
excited.
Alright.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so exciting.
She's really into it, but we already have overdue books. So just telling myself.
That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it takes a little longer.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
I know.
Thank you so much for serving, continuing to serve. If there's anything you think that the council should know, let us know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Bengal.
Yeah, I'm curious, some of my friends here at the table are always talking about Google's free. So because information is so accessible to us on smartphones, everybody has a smartphone, how do we keep libraries relevant in our society?
It's a tough question.
Deep question.
Yeah.
No, I'm
yeah.
serious. I wouldn't think that we would be expanding them because people have such quick access to information.
I don't know that we feel like everyone has a smartphone, and a lot of people do, but a lot of people want some help. We've got computers at the library. We have free Wi-Fi at the library. We had, during the pandemic, we had a woman say that we saved her life because her husband would check, he was an abusive husband, and he would check what her searches if she was at home. So she would come sit in the parking lot at the library and,
Use your Wi-Fi?
That's awesome.
And then they also, the downtown one has whole
A safe place.
interactive play areas. Like my daughter made friends with like a kid who goes there almost every day because she's homeschooled, and that's one of their like activity centers. Yeah.
and I think it's also a community. I mean, people, yes, you can sit in a silo and look things up, but you want to discuss it with someone or you want some help, everyone at the library is so helpful. And it says, here, I mean, if you look how many people come to the library, it's incredible. And
Yeah.
people strangely really do still like hard books, or they get the book they check out the book from the library and all of that. None of that costs anything. They can do ebooks from the library. But
It's 1.897
Yeah.
physical annual visits.
it's
million.
shocking.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
shocking.
That's why I asked the
It
question.
is shocking how many people, but I think that shows us that we still really do we do need community and we need interaction.
It is a third space, everyone. Everyone always says we don't have enough, but we have really good library ones. And we have Counselor Gilbert and then Counselor Decker, right?
But along with just reading, there's also labs,
Yes.
different labs
Yes.
in the
Oh,
libraries. So, I mean, you can do, there's a 3D printer lab, there's
Flight
a
simulator.
lab where people can go and make their own, put together their own music. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, just the different things. I mean, libraries just aren't for reading anymore. It's a totally different experience.
They started businesses from the library. They get, it's
Yeah.
just, it's amazing to
Yeah.
just go spend some time there.
Google, you can't do your own band.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
AI, but
The
music is
I thought there was an
questionable.
app that's.
Yeah. There's after that,
Yeah.
Counselor Decker, right?
yeah, I just wanted to amplify too the third spaces. I have teenagers, 8th and 10th grade, and it's one of the places they meet up with their friends to do board games, read manga and anime, and they feel safe, I feel safe dropping them there. My older teen has been one of the volunteers that's in here, so it's a good kind of foray into like job skills and those kinds of things. And we probably should do a better job of amplifying the libraries in our districts. We hold city meetings there, but I've kind of exclusively held my town halls at the schools. But I know when we have Hardesty meetings, they're packed out, and I think Martin Regional.
Martin's always
yeah.
packed out.
So, and I know Rudisill is definitely a community center, so we probably just need to, all of us, do a better job of just amplifying that the library is a place for you, even if you're not gonna check out, Wuthering Heights
Absolutely.
for your, for your reading
Oh,
list.
for Martha's book events, you're reminding me of one time Ann Patchett was speaking at the local
Oh,
library.
yeah.
I know she's come through twice, but it was a few years ago, and I made the mistake of asking her a question about David Foster Wallace, and she really went off. It was the wrong. Anyway, that was esoteric, but it was not a good question.
Yeah.
And I didn't
In-
know it was hitting a
in
sore
our
spot, and it was
community,
really
I don't-
entertaining.
I don't know
That is
about
entertaining.
you all, but our
was.
HOA is also often book rooms at
Yep.
the library.
Oh, that's interesting.
Instead of, because we
This
don't
is
have like
good.
a park community center in our part of town.
Counselor Archie?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your service. A pleasure to meet you
Oh,
for the
sorry.
first time. No, it's okay.
Thank you.
But yes, you're correct, Counselor Decker. Right. I need to have more meetings, in that
Yep.
space. We've had some, but you can make T-shirts in the library. There's a flight simulator there.
Oh, wow.
In the central library, yes,
in the
not
central-
every library, but in the central library,
Correct.
yes.
But one of the things I was struck by on employment, 79. Well, so people use the computers.
Page 15.
Yeah, page 14.
Oh, 14 to 15.
Yeah, 50% use the computer to apply for a job. 79% of those are interviewed, and then 79% report that they were hired from that interview. And so, I mean, the work that y'all are doing is funneling people into employment, and so people's lives are getting better
They
as
are
a
changed.
resources. So thank you for your work.
Counselor Devin?
Yeah, so I want to also comment that I know a lot of unsheltered individuals utilize the libraries for those purposes of applying for jobs. So it's a service that is rendered that is actually beneficial to the community as a whole in that regard.
Just makes our city better.
Yeah, or
county.
Well, and they can access resources as well, if they're not familiar with resources. I'd also like to amplify that District 3 only has one library, and that's Maxwell, and they close at 6. And so I would really love to speak with you about getting something broader for the district, because we don't have a community
Or the
center either.
bookmobile or
That bookmobile.
Well, I think something for kids to go to after school, and utilize the library. And I think that we are really lacking in District 3 in regards to any kind
Out
of
of-
resources.
Out of curiosity, picking off that, and then I know we need to move on for time reasons, but obviously we all want to hang out with you all day, clearly. Because Kendall Whittier, which is like, I know, a small library, is that still the highest utilization one at one
I
point?
can't tell you that
Okay.
with any certainty. I know it's very highly utilized, and there's so much activity in
Yeah.
that area, just in the area,
Yeah.
so.
'Cause I do want to flag, even if there is just the one, not saying there shouldn't be more, but potentially some of the ones that are like the smallest or most niche end up being like the highest use ones. So,
Right.
but per your point, maybe there's a way to get more people.
Well, at 6 PM when they close, I mean, that's not enough time for kids to go to after school. And
Yeah,
it's
I'll
difficult to
definitely talk
book a
to-
room there. If I want to have town halls during the weekday, I can't.
Okay.
It's really a
Good to know.
needed resource
Yeah,
for us.
I will talk to, take that.
Guess you can take that as a positive as well.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
Thank you so
Good,
much.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you for your time, and thank you for your
yes,
comments
if-
and questions.
Yeah, if you want to spend more time with us, we'll be voting on this on the 10th at 5 p.m. You are welcome to attend, but you don't have to. But if you ever want to hear the rest of the Ann Patchett story, it's wild. Okay.
She's fascinating.
She
and
is.
So, yes, she's
Yeah.
incredible.
No, I
so.
ended up with a David Foster Wallace biographer telling me the backstory, and it was spicy.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Thank you so much. We're on.
Thank you. Thank
We're
you
on
very
agenda
much.
item 3, Rosalind Williams, reappointment to the Board of Adjustment. Term expires May 10th, 2028. Had great attendance from Council District 1. I know that's a tough act to follow because we got to talk about libraries and now we're talking about
Yes, I'm just.
exemptions. I know.
No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yeah. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind telling us about yourself and your experience serving and why you'd like to continue serving.
Well, I'm a realtor, so
Yes.
I'm a people helper. And what the Board of Adjustment allows me to do, it gives me more knowledge and information about what's going on in the community in terms of housing, redistricting, and things like that. And it gives me more ammunition to give to my clients and to the community about what's accessible and what's available in terms of housing. And as we all know, housing is a huge initiative for our mayor. So it just broadens my horizons so that I can in turn broaden the horizons of the community and the people that I serve.
Any follow-up?
No, I'm just grateful for your service
Yeah,
on a
Board-
marathon.
Yeah, the Board of
sometimes.
Adjustment's
You know what?
intense.
Yeah, it's a process, but you know what? We like getting dirty, don't we? We like getting our jerseys dirty. So it's good. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much for
Well, thank
serving.
you. No
We
problem.
definitely
Thank
really appreciate it. Anything. Yeah, we are grateful for you. We will also be voting on this on the 10th at the 5 o'clock meeting. You are welcome to attend, but you are not required to.
Thank you so much.
We are great. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks.
you. All right, we are on agenda item 4, rezoning application for a major amendment to the PUD 286B, adding low-impact manufacturing and industry as an allowed use and adding other uses allowed in the IL and OM zoning districts for property located west of the southwest corner of East 47th Place and South Mingo Road, requested by John W. Moody, property owner, Advanced Ultrasound Electronic Inc., Council District 7, TMAPC voted 10-0. And we have Nathan with us from the Planning Office.
Good morning, councilors. Nathan Foster with the Tulsa Planning Office. So this request is a major amendment to a PUD. It's located on just the west side of Mingo, kind of north of 51st Street. The request is to allocate additional uses to the western side of the property. The original PUD was adopted in 1982 and then amended again in 1983. And it limited the west side of the property to one specific use category. The building has sold, and the new owners are hoping to bring some small manufacturers into the western side of the building, and so they've asked to allocate essentially all the uses that were allowed on the east side of the building to also be allowed on the west side of the building. The most intense of those would be like a light industrial use. Some things about that, you can do small-scale manufacturing, but all of those operations do have to be contained indoors. There's a prohibition on any kind of off-site impact in light industrial, and so the land use plan for this corridor does call it an employment area, which supported the change to allow these types of uses within the existing building. The Planning Commission, I believe on November 19th, voted unanimously to recommend approval of the major amendment.
Counselor Gilbert?
And the neighborhood that it backs up to, have you heard anything from them?
There were
about it?
no speakers at the public hearing. The applicant did indicate that they sent out their own 300-foot letter and had a small meeting that was not super well attended, but there was a few people that came and asked questions, and that they didn't get any massive objection from anyone based on what they were proposing to do, and then we didn't hear anything as it went through the actual public hearing, so.
Have you, Counselor Dr. Wright, have you heard anything?
Anything else? Yeah, Counselor Archie?
So, as I was reading the backup, it talks about tree canopy coverage. Tree canopy in this area is at 9%. This is maybe not a question, but just reflecting on what Councilor Dr. Wright says, oftentimes her district, is this right? That your district has probably the least
Yes.
amount of tree coverage?
Correct.
And so.
Thanks for listening to me.
I try to listen to all of you. Are so wise, all of you, most of you. But it's just.
Changed it.
He said
Every
I-
thought that Anthony
I
has
learned.
is.
I learned something from.
It's okay, yes, no, you're correct. We
But-
have the least amount of tree canopy.
Keep going.
No, I just think, how do we account for this? We want development, but also gotta think about,
That corridor is largely industrial,
It looks very-
like very warehousey, manufacturing. I see there's like an RS3 tucked there, like it's probably really from a long time ago. So I have not, now, since it's on for today, maybe I will, but I have not gotten any from those 4 properties that are gonna border.
So one piece of good news, and related to your question on the tree canopy, is when someone comes in and does a major amendment to a PUD like this, one of the goals we have is to carry all of the standards into our modern code requirements. So the PUD that was adopted in 1982, for example, generally had very light landscaping standards, if any at all. So when we write the major amendment and rewrite the development standards for this site, we carry in all of the landscaping standards that would apply today. It won't come up if they continue using the existing building, but if in the future someone were to redevelop this site, they will be required to plant trees, add additional landscaping, screening standards that would apply to any new development under today's code. So a benefit, I would say, of a major amendment like this is that we are able to modernize the rules on the site to make sure that future development looks better and will contribute back to the tree canopy.
Oh, great.
So.
It's a beautiful full circle moment. All right, anything else on this one? Okay.
I'll wrap by saying thank you for listening.
You must feel really hurt.
I feel heard. Thank you.
Agenda item 6, rezoning application Z7840 from AG to RD and RS5 for property located at the northwest corner of East 31st Street South and South 193rd East Avenue, requested by Mark Thetford, Wallace Design, property owner GWH Land Holding. Council District 6, TMAPC voted 10-0 to recommend approval.
I think,
You're on number 5.
did we
Well,
skip
I s-
5?
Yeah, we did for now. Can we go back? No, I'm kidding. I'll go back. I've read 6, but we're going back to 5.
She was
Okay.
done listening to me.
I was, yeah. Wait, did I? Oh, sorry, I skipped it because it said it was from the same property owner.
Yeah, in the same district.
It
Oh
is-
my gosh, but it's a different thing.
It's literally the same block.
Okay, rezoning application Z7839 from OM to CH, property located west of the northwest corner of East 48th Place and South Mingo Road. Same person, District 7, 10-0, TMAPC. Yeah.
Yes, so this is the property that is immediately south of the property that we just talked about. It's currently zoned for medium office and contains a surface parking lot that serves the use to the north. The same property owner that has the building to the north has acquired this property as well, and they have a proposal to essentially expand upon the same types of uses that they talked about on that northern piece, but limited more to kind of interior office warehouse uses for small commercial companies, commercial services. So this one, they did not need any of the light industrial, and they've asked for just a commercial zoning district to support that change. Similar situation with this one, the applicant did indicate they had their own set of neighborhood meetings and really talked about both of these projects together with the neighbors they engaged with. Nobody spoke at the public hearing with the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval.
All right, anything else on this one? Okay, the one I was so excited to get to,
Yes.
apparently, 6.
All right, so
District
item
6.
number 6, this is a rezoning at the northwest corner of East 31st Street and South 193rd East Avenue. This is a piece of property that is just southeast of the Lynn Lane Reservoir. The proposal is to take the property from its current AG rezoning. Here, let me get to the map for you guys. From AG to a RS5 and RD, which is a residential duplex designation. That hash line reflects the zoning line that they are proposing. So the westernmost portion of the property is proposed to be that duplex zoning. Everything else is proposed to be RS5. They did provide at the same time a layout with a preliminary plat as to what the proposed subdivision would look like at this location. It is set to be a 5-phase development, starting at the hard corner of 31st and 193rd, and then working their way west all the way. The request for RS5 was based upon the proposed lot sizes that they are asking for. They did not go to the full minimum of an RS5 district, but it allowed them to account for what is a significant floodplain area in the southeast corner of the property. So they were able to gain additional lots on the remainder while reserving that floodplain area for just detention and open space. The Planning Commission on this one as well voted unanimously to recommend approval of the request.
That's your chance to tell us you love RS5.
No, and I did meet with this developer, I met with the designer and the engineer, and I told them the only way I could support this as an RS5 was if it was a totally private development. You guys have heard me say this over and over, there is a high impact on 193rd East Avenue. It's become a superhighway. I've had conversations with Commissioner Salee about it for the last 3 years about it. It's a commuter road, basically between Catoosa and Broken Arrow. And I believe it's used specifically because of the traffic management of stop signs versus stoplights. As I told the individual, when we're talking about economic development, housing isn't just part of that equation and that conversation. These folks are not going to be spending their money in Tulsa. It's our job to try and mitigate revenue losses since we're dependent on sales tax. And I said, if you want this, it's got to be fully private. Streets, all of it. You keep it all. For me to support it as a development on its own, as a housing development, the additional impact to the infrastructure and the loss of revenues, it had to be an RS3 for me to openly support it.
As a follow-up, how many units is this, Nathan? Just so that we have full context. Sorry to put you on the spot to do some math.
No, that's okay. I should have had that number with me. Let me check in here and see.
While you're looking, Councilor Dectoray, did you want to add in?
Yeah, can we just go back to the superhighway? Is it a county road or a city road?
It's a county road.
193rd.
Yep.
And is there any improvements or widening or anything planned?
Well, well, first it was going to be some roundabouts on a 3 miles stretch. And then it turned into that maybe stoplights.
So they're basically taking it to get to the BA?
Correct.
Okay.
Or they're taking it to get to 412.
And it's just a 2-lane country
Yep.
road?
And that's why I
And there's
said,
already major neighborhoods turning in and off
right,
at 37th.
that's why I said if we had already had the widening on 193rd to support that development, great,
Well, you're not gonna get it though because it's all ag and it's not platted.
thank you.
That's what happens when you've been on council for
Yeah.
4 terms.
So that's why I
We learn
said,
things like that.
if they wanted it, I could support it 100% if it was all private. But if you wanted, because of the issues that I see along that corridor, the problem for me is that they were creating more of an impact and more of a problem.
Can we see the whole corridor, like
And
on
was
the
this-
east side? What is the zoning?
Oh, the zoning?
To the east, because there's already there's already like cul-de-sac neighborhoods.
So everything south of 31st Street is already RS5.
To
East
the-
of
to the east.
193rd is
Yeah.
AG. And then the southeast is RS3 with a PUD.
Yeah, I think it would help if like, even if you have a ballpark for the number of units, we could always find out more later.
I think it was just
Yeah,
over
it's the east side.
300.
Just over
so
300.
320-ish.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
what was some of this discussed, like, what Counselor Bengal is referring to, was some of this discussed during TMAPC? What did that look like?
No, the commission did not ask them about the idea of doing private streets, and they didn't propose that.
But what about like the impact part, like?
No,
Okay.
I think, I mean, basically, this was another one where there was no interested parties, nobody came to speak. The commission had very few questions about the proposal, and I think that the applicant really didn't have to say much at the planning commission, just because there weren't a lot of questions posed to them about this. I know that the city has been working, the traffic engineers have been working on new standards for when traffic impact analysis have to be submitted with new subdivision development. And something like this would likely fall within that provision as something that would need to be looked at before a plat could be approved for the number of lots that they're proposing. At a staff level, when speaking to applicants, we wouldn't have talked to them about the possibility of private streets, only because our subdivision regulations stipulates that we prohibit gated subdivisions or private street subdivisions over 20 acres, and this is a 75-acre tract. Not to say there's not relief that can be granted that would allow a larger private street subdivision, but the intent of those provisions is really to ensure we don't box out an entire area from being able to connect to future subdivision development or future public streets nearby. And when you do limit them to a private street, you kind of eliminate that possibility for connectivity around future development.
That makes sense. Counselor Dr. Wright and then
Yeah,
Counselor Bengal.
so I'm just looking at like the Google map, right? Is there an area plan or some sort of strategy for this area instead of just patchworking through our ag? Like maybe we get an area plan so there's a better,
There's not
Infrastructure
currently
plan?
any type of small area plan for this area, so it's purely just our land use plan that's relied upon.
yeah, I mean, this is directly south of Hard Rock. We had another thing come up a couple years ago, right in this corridor. It's obviously very desirable for development and housing. I feel your pain. I'm to this day still dealing with a country road between 81st and 91st on South Mingo, where the west side is still ag and the other side has 3 hospitals and an apartment complex, and we're still not wide. So I definitely think we should learn not to repeat those kinds of things,
Exactly.
but how do we continue? I'm just really looking at this, counselor. Everything around it is already RS5.
To the
That's
south.
built, right? No, what about to the east?
So southeast is RS3, that's in, I think that's
Like
actually.
at
broken
Lindley,
down.
at 31st?
Is ag.
No, to the east.
Well, that is
Like
ag.
east across 193rd.
Well, it's a little
It'd be
tiny
in
ag,
Wagner
counselor,
County.
and then it's
Oh, if we
Oh,
zoom out.
further
huge
east.
neighborhoods.
And that's in
Yeah,
Wagner.
so
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I'm looking at, is like,
So it's already kind of what the area is turning
yeah.
into.
I mean, if we were to zoom out like I am on Google Maps, that whole area is already these single family, but closer together lots, cul-de-sacs for
Well,
about
and
3 miles.
You said this is phased building, so it would be X number of more cars over time. I guess my curiosity, Counselor Bengal, when you're talking about, because I know there's the road and the traffic, are you talking about other infrastructure too that you're concerned about, or is it mostly the road? Which I hear you, that.
Yeah, the problem is that even if you shift or you change traffic management from stop sign to stop light, you could potentially wind up with the same problem on Lynn Lane, because that's stop signs,
Super dense.
all the way to Broken Arrow, and then that could even shift to 161st, which is the same thing. So you could potentially move your problem as you create those impacts. And so.
Which we see like on Memorial, Sheridan,
Yep,
Minko,
exactly.
over the last 30 years.
And so that's why I said, I'm not opposed to housing development,
Is that people speed?
but I don't support hyper-development,
Oh, it's.
when the infrastructure doesn't support
But we
it.
could do, but if the issues, so, but, wait, is the issue, you're saying speeding or traffic?
It's both. Both.
You
It's
have a
both.
two-lane country road that people are using for
A commuter.
commuters.
You could do like speed abatement and then.
No, they need to widen it.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just-
I know you don't like widening
It's that simple.
But
because
okay.
it's sprawl, but we're sprawled.
We're sprawled, it's, I know
And
that
it's
Jamie's out of the bottle, I
directly,
agree,
it's
yeah.
directly south of the Hard Rock Casino, just to like level set where this
Oh,
is.
Okay,
What did Commissioner Solis say
yeah, that's
is the
us.
plan?
Like, is the county gonna?
I can't tell you. I honestly can't, and
Okay,
that's no.
Well, we
dig
should
like
have a
Commissioner
conversation
Slade.
because
Bevan
your
knows.
area is growing, this part of town is growing
Right.
the fastest in the last 10 years. We need housing. I bristle a little bit at the privatization because, and I'm just speaking, District 7 has a couple of these communities where the city was like, no, you do it, and here we are 40 years later. They're all rentals, or they're all
Also sounds like
third
this is too big to
generation pass-throughs,
privatize.
and they're not
That's what we
maintaining
just heard.
them.
Well, we just
And
heard
it
that
becomes
like,
like a public safety
it's
issue.
not an option. for
Yeah,
them to
and I
apply
don't
to.
disagree with that, but that's
Well,
the
for
problem is
future,
I'm
yeah.
trying to discourage this sort of over-expansion too quickly.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, there's not places to retain sales, or to retain sales tax. So these folks
Well, when you get the
legitimately
rooftops,
are
though, you'll get the
No.
retail.
Look at Battle Creek.
Yeah.
So
I've
you think they're
supported
just building a
expansion
bedroom
after
community?
expansion of Battle Creek,
Uh-huh.
and we still have not seen any retail, none. So I'm challenged
Yeah.
by this idea that we're over-focused on housing and we're neglecting ourselves in other facets and components of economic development. This is just ridiculous, in my opinion, to expand this quickly and just be supportive of it because we're in a housing crisis.
Aside from,
But we have a responsibility to also mitigate and minimize the liabilities on our taxpayers.
aside from private, which was your offer, what about like RS3?
That's what I said.
And
You
is
said
I
that-
was
is that
open to
private-
RS3.
Private only or public?
No, I was open to the public.
So
This is all-
public streets and RS3.
Right.
So I haven't talked to the applicant, so I don't know, what their take is on any kind of down zone to RS3. What I would say, though, is even at an RS3 density, you are taking on a similar amount of infrastructure, you're just getting less users. So
Yeah.
the cost of that infrastructure is not changing as an RS3 density. It's like if we're going to let it develop as a single-family subdivision, it might be better to have more users on that infrastructure if the cost is what we're worried
Because
about.
it is
Right.
cost per,
And the other part about it is, when you privatize, like when you say we're gonna do it as a private subdivision, the streets become private, but the other infrastructure is still
Right.
public. So
I think what
water
we're
and
thinking
sewer.
about those 350 to 700 cars.
But I guess
Going through there,
that
right?
traffic impact, if we say RS5 and it's private streets, it's the same amount of lots. It's
Onto the
just-
main
And I wouldn't
arterial.
disagree with that. The problem is that you have streets all through Tulsa, even in my own subdivision that were built in 1976 that have never been resurfaced, not one single time.
No, you're right.
These people will get in line at the same point as everybody else asking for resurfacing dollars if the streets
No,
fall
because
into
we use
disrepair.
PCI, but my concern to what you just
I
said
understand,
is
but I'm
if they
talking about
fall
if they
below
shift.
40 PCI, they're not even on the list, which
Yeah.
is the other conversation we have to have sooner
Yeah.
than later.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess to me, it sounds like, right, these are part of, I'm just hearing broader, like, right, just kind of trending
Strategic
issues.
plan,
Yeah,
like
and
an
strategic-
area plan.
Yeah,
Is that not an option to do an area, what is this area called, like broadly? Just aside from East
I don't know.
Tulsa.
Yeah, what is it called in the
Yeah,
conditions
yeah,
of
I
it?
don't
I mean,
know that it
clearly
has
this is a
an
space
area
and place
name.
people wanna be in over the next 20 years, so there probably at this point does need to be more than just a land use designation and
But-
actually like a strategy that's probably gonna have to involve the county coming to the table.
No, I
with a
will just say
plan.
though, I have a reservation disagreeing with Counselor Bengal, which I've never done in my life, but, which is, that was a good eye roll. No, but but it was a kind one, everyone. I was gonna say, like, I just have a reservation though, like, because that's part of a broader trend or issue, holding off on a project that adds more housing to an area, per your point, that actually has a lot of the density already, when I, like, in the grand scheme of things, this to me doesn't add in that many, you know, we know that how many cars that, like, average household of Tulsa's, we're really talking one car, you know, they don't all, it's not like they all exit the neighborhood at the same time to go somewhere. To me, like, I don't know that this is the thing that makes or breaks what's already happening on that road. I guess that's how I'm thinking about it. I'm like, to me, I'm thinking how we know we need more housing. This is a broader issue that we need to solve. I don't know if we solve it by how we address this specific rezone. It's just kind of my thought process.
Yeah, but then the next one, so then you get a
It adds up,
patchwork.
yeah.
My main thing is, if you look at the parallel south of 51st Street in this part of town, a little to the west, you see where these neighborhoods cropped up 50, 40 years ago without these plans. And so I do hear our colleague kind of saying, like, maybe we should learn from that.
Fair.
Right? My district, it borders on Bixby and Broken Arrow, and we probably do lose sales to them, although our sales tax is lower right now, so maybe we don't. Which
But
is
we
a different
do,
debate.
but we do, because there is no
There's
retail.
nothing. There's-
Nothing.
So they
Even
have
with
to go,
pre-existing subdivisions.
they're already going.
We're standing up Catoosa's retail corridor
Yeah,
in East Tulsa.
They're going to.
That's a
Catoosa.
fact.
yeah.
So if you're not going to help me in other aspects of economic development, why should I support this? It's nonsense. And it's just continuing to exacerbate a problem.
Counselor,
Just put pork chops in, so they have to.
It sounds like the county has to do it.
this- or we build the wall around. Counselor Dunn.
Yeah, so I agree with 193rd, and I think the county needs to step up. Even if a development is not established there, I still think the county needs to step
Plan
up
for it, yeah.
and improve that street, period, because it is a high-flow traffic area, and I think it's dangerous, the way that the flow of traffic is ongoing. And if you add a subdivision this large, I know it's definitely going to add, and it will also trickle to 161st. And that would encroach on my district. And then I'll have these wants and needs for my district for 161st, because we're already having issues with 145th. And so I understand. Is Battle Creek RS3?
No, so the reason why I support what Battle Creek is doing is because they've maintained a standard of developments, because they started out with a complex, an apartment complex, I think, what is it, 131st? No, I'm trying to think exactly where it's at. But they have a golf course that's a free amenity. They've actually made infrastructure investments that have necessitated them being able to have those RS5 developments. They're really well built. And so everything that they've done has elevated that portion of the district. And I think that even goes into your district as well, Councilor Dector, right? So that's kind of the standard that people want to see. Not this, I totally support the core of East Tulsa, which is the old subdivisions. Those folks aren't seeing, the resurfacing of their roads and stuff like that. So I want to support development, but I want to also be smart about it.
What's the value comparison for this new development as far as affordability
I don't
versus
remember what they
Battle
said the
Creek?
price point was on those.
Because
The
I think
new
there's
300
probably,
and something homes. 350 or something.
yeah, 320, I think is what I heard. But I just wondered what the affordability level is compared to Battle Creek, and if we're looking at that aspect.
Battle Creek, I think, would be comparable.
So I have a question, going back to 193rd. There's clearly improvements right around the casino. And who paid for those? Was that county or was that
I have no
the
clue.
nation?
I think
I
there was
think
a partnership on that.
Yeah, so you see those improvements and you can
Some of
see
it's
where it
ODOT
would
too.
exacerbate
It was
almost,
nation and
you
county.
have the 2-lane improvements there and then people hit the country road and they
Yeah.
still want it to be,
I think ODOT, it's either
Or
ODOT
two
or
in each direction.
the feds or making improvements right there at that
Yeah.
corridor.
So it's 3 lanes in each direction right there, and then it narrows down to 1, which
Yep.
is probably exacerbating
Yep.
that issue.
So, oh, sorry. Can I ask?
Yes, of course.
When you had your conversation, I mean, I know the county roads are funded by the SERB fund. So where's their SERB plan? I just tried to find it. Have you seen their? We need to get a hold of that.
Okay.
I know.
Stephen and I have had
So,
this
okay,
conversation.
so
many
what, so
times.
with this one, just checking with my council colleagues, including for time, there's obviously a lot of implications or layers here. Is this something people wanna put back on? Is this something you wanna talk with the applicant more first? Do we leave it on for,
No, I've been very clear.
okay, that you're,
So
that you're a
I
hard
support
no?
this 100% if it's totally private, but I will support it openly as an RS3.
You mean public
Okay, but
streets?
I'm just
On
checking.
public streets.
Okay, but I'm just
Or-
checking.
Or an open
Combination
development.
of the two.
Yeah,
What?
Densities.
but I'm just doing a pulse check with
Well-
the full group. What do we wanna do with this item?
But just.
Well,
real
we're
quick,
trying to
if-
figure it out.
Yeah,
if
I know,
I'm-
I know.
If I may,
They're
but
options.
you would, but if they want to do RS5 private in a couple of these phases and RS3 public in a couple of phases, that would be fine too? Because there's
I
five.
would have to see, I
there's
would have
five
to see what it
phases.
looks like.
The big issue is the number of cars going in and out onto this unimproved road.
Well, and
Is that
just-
your
Not
biggest-
just that.
And sales
Just the
tax.
maintenance of,
It's-
Well, we can't afford, I mean, we can't control where people shop.
Yeah.
5 years from now, everyone might just only shop from their house. We don't know that. So,
So,
you know.
here's my question, do we wanna take this off from, I'm just thinking
I
through,
don't
like,
know.
well, or do you,
I'd be curious.
do you wanna put a pin in this so that the
Yeah,
developer can
right.
interact more with you in the planning office? Cause it just seems like unless we don't, if we
Seems
don't
like
know what
we've
they're willing to do or
generated
not,
more
then,
ideas.
Could you schedule a meeting with the developer and the commissioner to have a conversation?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the other thing. The commissioner should be concerned about housing. They should be concerned about all of Tulsa
Impact.
County. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and our housing needs is 85% of their residents live in our city.
And I'll be
we
honest
need
with
housing.
you, I'm a little
They could
shocked
Want some money off
that
that
a lot
property
of,
tax.
that other folks, neighborhoods didn't come out to the team APC.
For this
on
one?
this, yes.
Yeah,
But it's
I mean,
just-
I think the radius is probably,
Yeah, you're just hitting
Hitting
the
They
very
lake,
didn't even
few.
get
the
noticed.
lake and the ag across the
Yeah,
street.
So you
No,
might
but
need to
I-
hold a
But you
meeting,
do
too.
have some folks that are hypersensitive.
oh yeah, I mean, there were signs posted on the property, so if somebody would have seen.
So I'm really shocked that you
but-
didn't have more.
Can you have a community
Input.
meeting and maybe have the commissioner
this-
come
let's
and like have a conversation about the
Yeah.
corridor?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
we need more discussion. on
yeah,
that.
so it sounds like we're not gonna leave this on for,
Yeah, the
first reading.
developer kind of
Okay.
left me
Yeah,
in
let's
a
not do-
holding pattern.
yeah,
just
there's no
after we
point in
had the
having it
discussion.
move forward.
Are you good if we just don't even do first reading? We'll
Yes.
just
Yep.
move it to sometime?
Sarah?
Can we do just a certain committee date it would come back, so like December 17th?
How much time do you need? Because
Like that.
it is a lot of coordination.
Do we wanna put it on for this, well, I guess we don't know their timelines either, I don't wanna, so
I
17.
wouldn't even bring it on until next year.
January
Yeah, I
14th
think
is
that's
the
a good
next
idea.
opportunity after December 17th.
Works for me.
January 14th.
January 14th, okay.
So just as a for,
I mean-
if the decision is made that private streets are desired, I think you all, as a council, will have the ability to add what would be required, which is a development plan that provides express approval for the use of private streets. So if that conversation happens with the developer and there's an agreement made that we wanna just add an ODP, if you let us know, we can help get that language together before it comes back for an
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we do need to really hear what Nathan shared though, like infrastructure costs on the city side are still there.
Yeah.
Whether you have 5 houses or 350, so, you know.
Counselor Lake.
This is where impact fees would be helpful.
And
This is-
Oh,
the private
know I'm
neighborhood thing,
like-
there's 5 phases, they could have 5 different private neighborhoods, couldn't
Yes,
they?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
That
mean
would-
theoretically,
that
they
would
could break it up
Go
into
around the
separate.
20-acre
Oh,
issue.
for your point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or they could do we've had examples where
fees.
someone pockets out a private section and then
plan.
develops publicly around it.
There's a lot of options
Yeah.
on this, you just have to start thinking about all of them,
I think we also, whatever we do,
and pork chops.
we need to keep track of it, because I don't think we should have
Too soon.
a inequitable approach to this corridor. Like, if you're gonna require that of this one, then the next one that comes through, there has to be an ongoing conversation. That's why I think an area plan, or, I don't know what the technical term is, but clearly this is a desirable corridor that's got focus on it, so
This-
everyone should
it
get
has
around
to
the
be a
table.
Massively desirable corridor.
Yeah.
That you're between a casino and the
I
Broken
mean,
Arrow Expressway.
like maybe
412.
economic development partners get around the
tollway.
table with housing partners and intergovernmental and really say like, what are we doing here with all this ag land
Okay.
conceptually?
Well, and you know, this also borders Fair Oaks.
Right.
And there's that huge master development plan for that.
Sure, and that's gonna
mentioned
spur
that.
more of these
Right.
requests.
And then we'll get impact fees on the agenda in this time frame too. Okay, we have a plan.
Okay,
Sounds good.
what was the date? you said?
All right.
January 14th for committee.
Okay. I think we're done with all the planning things. Thank you, Nathan.
Of course.
Okay, agenda item 7, resolution authorizing payment of $35,000 to Metals Treatment Technologies LLC, plaintiff and Metcalf and Spittler attorneys at law from the sinking fund as a payment of a judgment and attorney fee awarded in case number CJ 2024-4335. This item has the emergency clause, and has Counselor Lakin told us how much he thinks is in the sinking fund?
$1 billion.
Okay, definitely not. Go ahead.
Good morning, Councilors. Chad Becker from Treasury, here to provide assurance that there is a sufficient cash balance in the sinking fund, not 1 billion, but sufficient to pay this judgment ahead of the levy placement on the property tax rolls. The judgment's been approved by the mayor and the court, and with council's approval, finance will issue payment in full to the claimant, and then file all the necessary paperwork with the county to levy repayments over a 3-year period. And as of this morning, sinking fund balance is 54.7 million. And
Say 67, so.
City Legal is here to discuss the case.
Morning, Councilors. Comron Tackmill with City Legal, and this case was related to a contract dispute between the city involving the Tulsa Police Department firing range, where Metals Technology came in and provided lead remediation to remove the lead in the burn where they practice. It had become a safety issue. In that industry, typically what the contracts, the language in the contract says that a lot of these companies will come in, do the lead remediation, they'll keep the lead in exchange for payment, and then just recycle the lead. And the Tulsa Police Department had a company come in, and that was the agreement they had. Unfortunately, that company had issues with equipment, so they had to find a second company. And they had the same discussions with them, but when the contract was sent to the lieutenant in charge of the firing range, he assumed that it had the language in that they had discussed, and they had put some fine print, different language that said that they controlled all the lead, retained 100% ownership, and then they would also invoice us. So in this case, they came out, they performed the work, but then they sent the city an invoice for $56,000, which we refused to pay because it didn't go through the proper bidding process, and it was not reviewed or signed by the mayor. So they filed the lawsuit, and eventually we came to the agreement that they could keep the lead and that we would pay them the difference for the invoice. But there were mistakes on both sides, both with the company and with the lieutenant. But
All right, Counselor.
So do we have a better system set up now to where any contracts that go before any department are reviewed through legal, and that they don't sign themselves and it goes through the
well,
mayor's office?
what we discussed in this case, I think the confusion from the lieutenant's standpoint was he mistakenly believed that if no money was supposed to exchange hands, it didn't have to go through a bid process or through the formal contracting process. And we just informed him that that is not the case, right? Any contract has to go through the proper
Channels.
review channels and review process. So they're aware of that now. And, you know, in this case, I think the mayor made an exception. You know, typically, if it doesn't go through the proper channels, there's no appropriation for it, so we wouldn't pay it. But since they had some issues on their end, that the initial salesperson that the lieutenant spoke with, he left the company. It was handed down to somebody else, so there was miscommunication on their part as well, but
It's messed up all around.
But we have a better system now? I mean, to where
Yeah, this isn't
hopefully,
with the Tulsa Police Department, we do. Now, I can't speak for other
Other
departments. I
departments, but-
assume that, everyone's aware that all contracts have to go through a bid process and be reviewed.
Counselor Bengal?
When did that
Do we
become a
not have
mystery?
legal review of contracts before they're signed?
We review 2,500 contracts a year.
that's all?
So it sounds like you guys are underworked.
Sounds like you need some more.
The normal process is everything comes through legal and gets on the mayor's agenda for signing. This was a really unusual case.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, sorry, could you say again, when was this contract executed?
So this happened back in the contract was signed on May 28th of 2024. And
Okay.
they came in and did the lead remediation and kept the lead. And when we got the invoice, there was no credit associated with it. And they had discussed that the credit for the lead would offset the services. But again, they had the different language in the contract that the lieutenant did not catch. And it was just in fine print where they keep 100% of the lead.
Always read the fine print.
Always read the fine
They
print,
catch
right?
us.
It's
So
just
Ask
a
an
one-time,
attorney.
it's just a one-time.
It's a one-time.
Okay.
So obviously, they're not doing business with them.
I'm really interested in how they got the lead out of the dirt, but we can talk about that.
it's quite a process from what I
Giant
understand.
magnet or,
Getting the lead out.
And I will tell you, in this case, the mayor made a one-time exception if they were willing to be reasonable, meaning the invoice for $56,000 was their break-even point. So we told them that we're not paying, if you made a mistake, we made a mistake, but we will pay the difference just to cover your costs, which is what we did in this case.
but ultimately, we could have said, he didn't have the authority to sign. It didn't go through the proper channels, so the whole
Yes.
thing's null and void.
That was our original position. The judge strongly encouraged us to go to a settlement conference. So
Okay.
that's why we ended up asking the mayor for an exception.
And you think this is a fair deal,
Yes,
as fair as we can get?
as fair as we can get, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not make a profit on this. We just basically paid their costs. And through the discovery process, we had gotten all their costs and that they incurred, and so we confirmed that.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Dr. Wright?
This is probably a question for Jack. So a mayor kind of making exceptions on a contract that's already been executed, is that like
Well, in the context of
typical?
lawsuit settlement, they raised kind of equitable claims of unjust enrichment. And so in the context of settling that lawsuit,
That's where the exception was made, is in the settlement discussion?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you meant like when the discovery was made that the contract was
oh,
No, no,
outside?
no.
Okay. Thank you.
Counselor Dedden, did you?
Yeah, it's just a question of what do we do with 38,000 pounds of lead?
yeah, they keep it and recycle it, the company does.
Yes.
Wow.
They recycled it and received just over $26,000
Yeah, I see that.
for that recycled
That's
lead.
a lot of lead.
Think about the lead that's not been removed.
I
from the
know,
dirt.
I know.
Let's try not to think about it.
A lot of pencils.
Okay, anything else on this one? All right, thank you. We are on agenda item 8, resolution authorizing payment of $145,000 to Jerry Ponder plaintiff and Nicholas A. Rankin, attorney at law, from the sinking fund as a payment of a judgment and attorney fee awarded in case number CJ 2025-03487, emergency clause.
Hi, Nick Williams with City Legal. You wanna take this?
My part's the
I
same.
don't mean to jump the gun
No,
here.
no, my part would be the same, so you can go ahead and.
This case arises from Mr. Ponder's injuries that he sustained when a TPD K-9 bit him. TPD officers with the K-9 were responding to about 71st and Sheridan in a shooting situation. We had a K-9 there trying to track a suspect down. During the course of the investigation, the K-9 went onto the front porch of Mr. Ponder. Unfortunately, Mr. Ponder walked out at that exact same time, and the K-9 bit him both in the leg and arm. Mr. Ponder alleged medical bills, ongoing pain and suffering, and emotional pain and suffering as well. And I'm happy to entertain any questions there may be.
What happened to the dog?
I believe the dog is still employed by
Okay,
TPD.
it was
He still
It
works.
might not be a flaw, it might be a feature of how they were using
trained.
that.
Okay, I just wanted to Well, I know what happens to other dogs that bite people, so I
No,
just wanted to
this is
check.
our dog.
I know, that's why I was checking.
TPD dog.
I know.
So was the dog on a leash at the time?
A 15-foot leash, yes.
Oh, that's a long.
Yes.
This is TPD's dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure he was okay, too, like, you know.
I was just wondering.
Okay, and then, glad that the
Did
person's
the
going to be
shooting
okay.
happened at that house?
In that neighborhood, so officers were responding to that neighborhood and trying to find the suspect, used a canine in the process of that, and hence why the dog was
Sniffing
involved.
the suspect.
And that explains the leash length, okay.
Was it sniffing?
Well, that explains why
What's
a
the
officer
suspect?
can go onto that I guess it was just a random property.
Yeah,
They had maybe suspicion.
the canine was, I believe, on scent, trying to track the suspect down and meandered up to the patio of Mr. Ponder. And again, kind of a perfect storm of unfortunate circumstances with Mr. Ponder walking out at that exact same time.
All right, anything else on this one?
Well,
Dog bites are scary, so.
Evidence could find one of our dogs.
Okay.
Is this in your part of
Gloves.
71st and Sheridan or my part?
Oh, no.
Well, I think, does anyone have any other questions on?
Thank you.
Sounds like a scary, hopefully one-off. All right, we are on agenda item 9, thank you so much. Ordinance amending Title 37, Tulsa Revised Ordinances, adding a new section related to holding a handheld communication device in a school or construction zone, prohibiting texting or holding a handheld cellular telephone while operating a motor vehicle in a marked school zone or construction zone. And this is brought to us by Councilor Dectorite with the emergency clause.
Yes, so you all may have seen that House Bill 2263 became law on November 1st. That was authored by Representative Nicole Miller from Edmond. It basically is a law that strengthens Oklahoma's existing distracted driving provisions where extra attention by the drivers behind the wheel would be critical, and that would be in construction zones and school zones. Drivers may still use hands-free features on these devices to stay connected safely. They just literally can't have it in their hands. And so in order for us to be able to have the police department enforce this in city limits, we need to codify it in ordinance. So I brought it to Jack, and that's why it's before us today. The state law went into effect on November 1st. So this is just to get us on the same page. And as we have had really intensive discussions in the last year about increasing public safety, especially where drivers and pedestrians and active transportation come into contact, I just thought this was a no-brainer for us to do it. I did check the votes on this. Nearly every representative and senator that overlap our districts voted in favor of this. There are a few who didn't, and you may want to visit with those if they overlap your council district. I have a senator who I will ask why they voted no. But for the most part, it seems like the legislative body that represents Tulsa was in favor, and I just think this is just one more tool for us as we continue to have these conversations about how we get drivers to be safer around people who aren't driving on our streets. Yeah. So I think the emergency clause just means if we, when it gets passed, there's not the 30-day provision, and it would go into effect as soon as the mayor would sign it. Hopefully, we pass it on the 10th, and then whenever the next signing agenda is, then it's in effect, and Chief Larson et al. Can let our good officers know they have to be looking for this in a construction or school zone. Yeah.
Does that, 2 follow-up questions? Just one clarifying one, and that includes, this will be clarifying for the public too as I ask this.
Yes, I see immediate interest here.
That includes if someone's at a stop sign or traffic light, if you're operating your vehicle still, even if you were physically stopped at a light.
So this applies in school zones.
Right, but I'm
marked
saying
school zones,
but
and
if someone's at a traffic light in a school zone.
Yes.
Okay, that's why
Yes.
that's why I'm.
The car is still running.
You're still.
You're
running.
operating the vehicle, and
Still counts as operating it, even
Yes.
if you are at a complete.
but if you
stop.
have CarPlay or whatever your hands-free option is, you can still use that.
Okay.
And then also obviously construction zones.
And then just because this conversation keeps coming up as my second question, and then Councilor Lee can next. The fine amount, was that
Is $100.
$100? Did you I don't know if I know we've always talked about if that's in line with other similar.
Jack helped draft this, so.
And that's provided for in the statute, and that's a cap. in
Okay.
the statute.
There's also a list of exceptions. Pretty much if you're on the phone with 911, that would be the exception.
Okay.
So if you're trying to get a first response.
Okay. That makes sense. Counselor Lakin?
So just while school zones are active, correct? So it's not just driving through a school zone?
Yeah, I mean, the school
on
zone-
Sunday?
Or the summer or whatever.
In a construction zone as well.
Yeah.
Some states don't let you
Yeah,
pull
so
your
help
phone
me
at
on
all.
that, that was gonna be my
New
follow-up
Jersey.
question. For construction zones, so let's say you're driving through at 9 PM at night. That's still a construction zone with probably cones and everything else, but it's not probably active with construction workers. What's the rule there?
Either of those zones, while a motor vehicle is in motion. So it-
It's just for those places where you need to be more, like, I have a major
Oh, I-
construction
But
zone.
whether this site's active or not is what he's saying.
Well,
Right,
so,
I'm
but
trying,
what,
so a school zone though is not active Sunday morning at 9 AM when the lights are not active, correct? So I can drive through the school zone
50 miles an hour.
texting away.
So
Not
it's
that we
a-
should do, not that anyone should do that.
Yeah, talking away.
Okay.
Looking at your map on your phone in your hand or
So the
whatever.
language is, as it relates to school zones, during certain times due to the presence or potential presence of school children,
Yeah, it says something about active though too.
when it is properly posted. So the school zones will post when they're in effect. So,
Yeah, okay, so school zones is one thing. Construction zone though, it seems like it's at any point in that construction zone until the
If it's posted.
signs are
If the
taken
signs are up,
down.
that's-
If
Yeah.
the signs are up, it's an active construction zone.
Even if there's no workers on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I
Counselor
think
Ballard?
that's clarifying.
Don't
and
we
helpful.
have something in place already for mobile?
Yeah, we already
cell
have a
phone?
distracted driving
Yeah.
law. This is holding it in your hand. So here's the thing,
Right.
you can have this with your navigator on
Right.
it, driving your kids to school.
Or
Now
taking
you can't
pictures.
anymore.
Right.
Right, and this needs to be on the cradle.
Right.
Maybe it's in your CarPlay now, showing you your map, but you just can't have it in your hand. Texting and driving is illegal,
Right, that's,
but some people drive and talk on their phone like this.
yeah.
So
Okay.
if you're in a school zone or a construction zone, you're gonna have to, I don't know,
So
stick
isn't
it
it
here
just
and
as
talk on the
distracting?
You know,
Oh, it's going right.
you know, like, it can't be in your hand.
Isn't it just as distracting though, even to have it in a placeholder?
No?
Well, actually, I mean, there have
I
been.
mean, I'm not trying to be.
No,
I mean, by
for your-
law, no.
For your
Okay.
point, there
It's a
actually have been studies that have come out about how, because cars have like the screens instead of buttons, the fact that you actually have to look to touch and you can't just feel
Right.
is an issue, but that's just like a car design flaw at this point, that this, like, we,
Okay.
you know.
The way the state law is
Yeah.
that we're mirroring, you can be on a CarPlay moment. You can do a voice-activated moment to your handheld device, you just can't have it in your
Right.
hand. So it can sit in the cradle, you can be tucked
Okay.
in your shoulder for the 2 miles that you're driving through that zone, and then you can put it right back in your hand, I suppose. It's not a great idea, but,
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering how that
Yeah.
related to texting, because I know just recently, on our Tahlequah trip, we went through construction zones, and there were so many people on their cell phones, even on the highway.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it's
Enforcement.
really, really scary when you're
That's
traveling.
already illegal.
Yeah, but I mean, getting it regulated and people actually getting cited is the difficulty, I think, in all of that, so,
There's a reason why Siri lives in your phone.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I need an OnStar and.
but the texting and driving, I see it all the time, even on 244 on my way in, it's just so distracting.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think that's great, thank you.
I'm sure if TPD thinks we need to strengthen it or adjust it, they'll let us know once they start enforcing.
Counselor Lakin?
So this just, like in item 2, A2, it says holding or using a handheld cellular telephone. The or using part,
That sounds different than what you were describing,
that
is what you're
sounds
saying.
different than the CarPlay and everything else.
Well, I think it's the handheld
Handheld.
element of it that
It's
makes
the
it a little more
handheld
specific.
cellular.
I know,
Because
but
you-
what if,
If you're holding it, a
well,
cellular
but this
device,
is,
but if
but
it's
this
in.
is a handheld cellular and I am using it.
What are we saying when it's,
It's
He's putting it
communicating
in-
I
via
hear what you're
Bluetooth.
saying.
Context.
It is where,
But
So
are we
just
just
take the
mirroring
hand-
state statute language? This isn't anything that we came up
Wouldn't it
with
say,
on
like,
our own, so.
Just take the using out. Just put holding a handheld cellular telephone. Does that fix that for you?
No, it's
well,
just a handheld. It should be holding or using a cellular device.
No, the or using,
It's the
the
or
deletion
using.
of
I
the
hear what
or
you're saying.
using.
Even if you're holding it,
Because
it's
using
turned
would
off
include
if
when
you're
you're not
driving.
holding it.
Just holding it.
Either
Just
way, that
basically-
is.
I mean, you have to think about the
Using
enforcement
capacity.
element. An officer's going to have to see, I'm driving with, they're gonna have to see it. So it could be completely turned off, but I think I would be probably
Yeah, the
still
or
having
using
to
is
explain myself.
problematic because then it
Yeah.
nullifies what we were saying about CarPlay,
I
potentially.
hear what you're saying.
But
you're
the
saying,
next
is this how this
section
is
does-
in the state law? Is that the issue? Because
This is exactly the language
Yeah.
from the statute.
okay,
Yeah.
which I agree. I would change that if I was doing the
So,
state
but the
law.
next section does get more into the
It like clarifies.
voice activated element of,
So is there something that would further define what can
In
be
C,
done?
It says, shall not apply in conjunction with hands-free or voice-operated technology.
Okay, so it's already covered.
Okay.
That definition.
I mean, I don't know how you prove to a
Conjunction with
police
hands-free
officer when you get
Okay.
pulled over. I was just
That's good.
holding it. It was actually, I was talking to my CarPlay. I mean,
Yeah, that
That's-
Well,
neutralizes that.
it has the option for them to confiscate the phone and find out, so.
no, it does not.
Oh, I thought that's what,
Yeah.
Yeah,
confiscate.
confiscate.
With, well, shall not without the consent. So they can ask, but they can't just take it.
right.
That's good.
So obviously you could just be like, it's completely turned off, I'm just driving and talking to CarPlay. And then they would be like, well, show us you weren't on the, you know.
Right, okay.
All right.
All right. Anything else?
Sure, if we see a plethora of folks showing up in municipal court or something over this, we will revisit with a TRO discussion. I think, thanks Jack for getting it ready. You know, the media really had reported around Halloween, a pre-Halloween, that this new state law had hit, and then it was like, is it happening here? Is it not happening here? So, it's happening.
Well, it's obvious these are two places you shouldn't be driving distracted.
100%.
Yeah,
Or-
I agree.
Thank you for bringing it.
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on agenda item 10, resolution authorizing condemnation of property owned by Full Gospel Family Outreach Ministries located at 5601 North Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Valley View Acres, 3rd edition. An existing public necessity requires the acquisition of a drainage storm sewer easement for stormwater improvements in this vicinity. This is in Council District 1.
Good morning, councilors. Matt with the Public Works Engineering. There has become a need to construct a sidewalk along 56th Street North near MLK Boulevard. And as part of that effort, we need to extend a box that goes under the road. And that extension of the box results in us needing to take some drainage easement from this property owner. And due to title issues, we are unable to solve this, and so we need to move forward with condemnation. And I ask that you support the resolution for that.
Any follow-up questions? Makes sense. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Susie. All right, we are on agenda item 11, license agreement between the City of Tulsa and Carolee Ingram and Richard Rabinowitz for property located at 6706 South Florence Avenue, lots 1 and 2, block 1 of the Brandon Hills Edition, to install, use, and maintain what sound like some really fancy driveways.
Yes, so, these individuals have opted to do a color stained rock salt finished concrete with diamond cuts in it, which is outside the standard that the City of Tulsa would utilize, and so this license agreement just puts basically them on notice that if for some reason that driveway needed to be removed for utility repair or street repair, the City of Tulsa would not be placing that particular style driveway back. We would be doing standard. I'm sure at that time they would come forward and do it themselves with the standard that they would like. So I would ask that you approve this license agreement.
Okay, any questions on that one? Classically, this is in Council District 9. Okay, I forgot to read that part, just adding in God's country. Okay, thank you. I think that covers that. We are on agenda item 12, discussion with the City of Tulsa's interim emergency management director and representatives from the National Weather Service and Tulsa Area Emergency Management Agency regarding coordination, communication, and response to severe weather events brought forward by Bengal, Gilbert, and Dr. Wright. Definitely timely, given our recent weather. Yes. Yay, and we have-
Good morning, thanks for having us. Laurel Roberts, Commissioner of Public Safety in the Mayor's Office. I'll let our guests introduce ourselves and then we'll run through what I've got real quick here.
Bill Smiley, the Director of the Tulsa Area Emergency Management Agency.
Good morning, Steve Pills, National Weather Service, Tulsa.
Thanks for
coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Coming. We wanted to put this on the agenda only because of the weather that came through East Tulsa a couple weeks ago. It was the week
Right
before Thanksgiving.
Commissioner got a three-way call from yours truly, the three of us going,
Surprise
what's going
tornado."
on? There was
Yeah.
an EFO that hit East Tulsa.
So, and, I mean, I found out about it through just watching Mike Collier. And he, put a warning out of some funnel clouds in East Tulsa. And I may still have a little bit of PTSD from the 41st
Sure.
tornado. So I was just worried. And those storm chasers that were going to had also seen the funnel cloud as well. So just wanted to have a conversation with you. We knew that there had been some shift changes within the city and the county and where we are and who's making. We understand that the National Weather Service is the one that issues
But
those.
we didn't hear sirens, because I was at 31st and Mingo when that hit, and like noticed something was happening, but I pulled up, radar, I go to Fox 23, sorry, Mike Collier, but I saw we were in a thing, but there were no like funnel or polygons or whatever, so I was just kind of like, well, I don't know, and then that's when Chris called me, or you did.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh no, so then we called Chief Baker and we called Laurel, like, what are we supposed to do?
So in all fairness, I was out of town. I was also
Yes.
out of town for 2017. So when I go out of town, maybe we should be on.
Maybe you should,
I think my concern is I just didn't hear sirens, that led to the bigger
We didn't have
conversation,
sirens
like.
in 2017 either.
Right, yeah.
So I have a quick presentation that we could run through, or if
Yeah.
there's just real specific questions, I think maybe you could target those to the.
No, let's
to-
do
Let's do the presentation.
I mean,
So I
and
will,
we'll cover some of those.
Yeah.
We'll take questions and
yeah, I
obviously.
will surface as just like if it comes up in the presentation or for us to put a pin in for later after the presentation maybe. I just know maybe some of us have gotten questions from like the weather the other day and all the traffic accidents, which I think mostly sounded like they happened on the highway, but I think there were questions.
Yeah, I think our point here, Ted, is to address the specific concerns
Yeah.
regarding the tornadic storm a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then we can talk about like the division and the future of where emergency management looks like for a city and county perspective.
Okay, great, thank you.
No problem. So one of the questions that Counselor Dr. Wright and Counselor Gilbert both already mentioned was the tornado sirens and the lack of hearing sirens. And so just the purpose of the sirens and kind of a quick background, I mean, it's very elementary, very basic, but they're designed to warn people when they're outdoors. We hear that people can't hear them inside. Well, that's not the purpose, right? There's multi-alerting systems that we all have technology advancements that come in on the phone, there's radio, social media, television. Those are all also considered alerting or warning systems. So folks that are outside that might not be close to televisions, whatnot. So they are designed to warn people that are outdoors. There's over 80 sirens in the city of Tulsa. In the county, there's over 100 total. So there's maps on our City of Tulsa website that show where the sirens are, the alerting areas, what's covered. And a tornado siren, there's a 3-minute straight tone. If we stay in here another 15 minutes, we'll probably hear it, because Wednesdays at noon is when we run the trials on those. But it's what we all hear, it's what we're familiar with when we're, live in Oklahoma for enough time. There are other alerts. I'm not gonna, dive into those right now, because they're not tornado related. So, when do the sirens sound? And I might just defer this. These are just a couple really high-level basic comments, but to the National Weather Service to answer. Typically, it's when winds are in excess of 80 miles an hour or there's rotation confirmed on a radar. Is there more to add to that maybe from a perspective, or is that generally very fair to say?
Well, that's, the siren activation lies with the emergency management. So we are in contact with them during bad weather, questions back and forth. But that's been the consistent.
They also sound but there's a different flooding sound too, right?
There is.
Yes.
Okay.
Flooding, nuclear.
Right.
And there's a nuclear sound, So, and then.
Let's hope we don't hear that one.
What?
We had the flooding one in 2019.
Yeah, that threw me off, I remember that.
What initiates a siren? So when a tornado warning is issued, again, and we talked about kind of what prompts that. The sirens are, so when there's a warning issued for a polygon, there's 4 quadrants in the city of Tulsa. When there is a tornado warning issued, that polygon automatically sounds those sirens. There are redundancies in place for if that doesn't work, right? And so there is the capability of manual pushing of a button at the Emergency Operations Center through an individual, and then also dispatch has the ability to sound the sirens. And so there are, like I said, redundancies to ensure that that happens. And then why did this tornado sirens not go off specifically a couple of weeks ago? I put in there the National Weather Service quote. So I will say that they did issue a special weather advisory. But the circumstances, the atmospheric circumstances, what was going on with the weather was not even sufficient enough to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning. And furthermore, not even a tornado warning. So the sirens would not have gone off. And it was very brief, very weak, storm that produced a maximum of 60-mile-an-hour winds, and it was classified as an EF tornado, or EF 0 tornado. And then my last slide just gives you a little bit of kind of how those tornadoes are classified, and the damage that is typically associated with each one of those. So I'm going to pause it here, because this is where I think we have the discussion about the recent storm, and then if we want to maybe branch off into the future of what emergency management looks like.
If I can add too, yeah, the storm was tracked from Creek County across Tulsa County. And like you'd mentioned, the atmosphere didn't really support anything significant. The rotation by radar was not particularly strong. And so essentially, the decision was that a tornado warning and everything that happens during a tornado warning, all the hospitals going to code black, moving people, all the things that have to happen, was disproportionate to the tornado that occurred. It's barely at, in fact, we don't think the winds exceeded 60. Some would say we shouldn't even call it a tornado, as the graphic would suggest, it's 65. It was probably something for about 60 seconds. And so it just, a formal tornado warning with the sirens would have been disproportionate. There could have been potential impacts in the community from just the warning, and that would far outweigh the actual damage which occurred, which from my knowledge was none. We surveyed through the area, and I'm not sure that we've ever heard of any damage directly attributed to that.
Yeah, we got 0 calls for service, 0 questions, and no emergency response was required either from police or fire or MSAs.
And I would add too, I think that type of thing happens more often than we know it. And that particular day, it was particularly cool and humid. It wasn't a typical storm day. And those conditions sometimes make even the weakest swirls visible. So sometimes someone may have a 50-mile-an-hour gust in their neighborhood, and it was that same thing. It's just the humidity didn't allow us to see it. So it was.
That makes sense.
It was tracked. We have algorithms that look at all the radar data, and it was picked up on in Creek County, and there were 2 people dedicated to watching the storm. We saw the storm chaser reports. We actually had interaction with Tulsa International on the information. So it was tracked, and I think everybody just thought that this, if it intensifies, we can act on it, but that was the anticipated result, and it didn't intensify. So.
Councilor Gilbert?
That was my question, was going to be, even though if there's a funnel sighting, I mean, it doesn't necessarily ignite a tornado warning or sirens.
There could be circumstances where that we see funnel clouds that never touch down, and we know they're going to happen, and we'll issue a special weather statement like we done that day. There's other times if the atmosphere appears primed and there's a funnel cloud report, then the tornado warning would happen just very instantly. So.
Okay.
Councilor Bengal?
And I think that was our initial concern, is because there was a sighting, it was on social
like
media
2
from
funnel
a,
clouds.
from a weather, or from a meteorologist posted on social media. So our concern was like, was there a failure here?
Right. No, it's a perfect concern. I mean, because you're exactly right. In fact, we received the first spotter report in Jinx. And so that was relayed to us in real time. And so they said they saw rotation in the cloud base in Jinx just barely through the rain. So we even knew that, and we were watching the storm chasers on their social media, so we knew what they were reporting. And so we were seeing their pictures live, and it just didn't appear to us that it was going to rise to a need to issue a warning, because again, the reaction to the warning is pretty significant, and a lot of things go in motion. So.
Yeah.
So let me ask another question. When you're talking about, because you talked about sirens are for warning people outside, would you not see that as a danger, that high of wind? 65 to 85, where you're talking about potential flying debris hitting people.
Well, and then their siren criteria does start at 80 miles an hour, but the radar data we were looking at was all sub 60. I think we gave a generic range, 50 to 60 miles an hour. Even with 60 miles an hour, we probably would have seen some broken branches, and we didn't even find broken branches.
Okay.
There were leaves in the air. It very likely didn't even approach 60.
Okay.
So.
And I will say that I got a couple questions, I don't remember what's from this table, about sirens in Rogers County, potentially adjacent to City of Tulsa. And the reports I got back from our incident management folks was that there were no sirens in Rogers County that were ever activated. Bill, I think you might be able to confirm that as well. But so I'm not sure what people were actually hearing, but there were confirmation no sirens in Rogers County were ever activated as well.
But that brings up a good point. If the first report comes into the City Emergency Operations Center, the sirens can go off before you hear a National Weather Service warning, because if that first report comes through dispatch, then by all means, the city should blow with their sirens, whether we issue a tornado warning or not. More often than not, like was mentioned in the criteria, we'll see rotation on radar that's strengthening before the first report. But it's also in place that any community can activate their sirens whenever they think they need to.
So that was the challenge, is none of us got an alert on our phone.
Right.
And so that's what kind of created this kind of panic between us.
And the
What
special
happened
weather
here.
statement we issue won't trigger your phone. It's a lower level,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
I think it's important to note too that, for example, for me, I was out of the office as well. I was in the area though. And I just started hearing chatter from the people around me, and I was asking what was going on. And so the relationships that we have are really critical, because instead of me trying to figure out and interview people right there that I don't even know, I just picked up the phone and called Steve immediately and asked him what was going on, and had a conversation about it to make sure that, you know, we weren't missing something that could be going on, that we needed to activate something, or I needed to call somebody else like Laurel and get together, and which is the case in pretty much everything that we do. We just go right to the source and work it out.
That's a good point. I mean, there's protocols, and that we all have each other's cell phone numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so quickly we can cross-check with each other as well. So if anybody needs my cell phone number, I give it out, so.
Mine too.
So,
Might be good.
You've got a picnic tomorrow.
I get those calls.
We won't abuse it, but it might be
I have a
good
wedding
to-
in a year.
It's, mine's 918-630-6517.
Well, the whole public's gonna get it. if
That's
you
fine.
give it to
You
us.
know, I work for the public.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that those numbers are
That would
shared
be great.
with this group, so, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, especially for coming today and giving us an update on everything that transpired, especially that day. Like I said, we don't want to go through another 41st and Yale 2017 storm like we did. So, I mean, you talk about tornado sirens warning people outside. Well, I have my own tornado sirens inside my house.
Yes.
So, 2 of them,
Yes.
so. But they didn't even give me warning, so,
Yeah.
but,
No doggy treats for them.
exactly. But we just appreciate it because, I mean, we get those phone calls too, asking, why didn't, I had a few shingles fly off my roof. Why wasn't anybody notified, or why didn't we have any sirens? So it's good to have that clarification of when it's categorized of tornado warning and.
Usually we can blame the weather. So, I mean, if you need me, I've always told the EMs, if you need me to come before your mayor or councilors to explain what went on that day, most of the time it's just gonna be the weather was not cooperative.
Yeah, well, we live in Oklahoma.
But we
That's
have
right.
good weather prediction here as a
We do.
rule. And that, I think, is the question that Counselor Bellis had, like, we knew ice was coming, but I was told that the highways were not proactively de-iced or sanded or whatever.
Which I know
So-
you also have more slides, I don't know if they touch on.
Yeah,
And that's ODOT.
well, we don't,
ODOT for highways.
Right.
Terry Bond, his crew, the city, streets guys, they were out at midnight.
yeah.
They
Oh,
were
yeah.
brining.
Yeah,
And
there's,
they
I
were-
saw,
the
there was sand
highways.
and stuff on city streets that I was
Yeah, it
on,
was
but
the
I think the
highways
highways
that
have
were
so many
super bad.
accidents.
Yeah.
And
they did.
highways do not brine. They don't
well,
lay down the
whatever
brine, they
prep
just
they're
salt and
supposed to do.
sand.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, there are, everybody knows their piece of the pie when it comes to that kind of weather. And and I'll address this on the next slide when we talk about, you know, the direction where we're moving, just
Yes.
the dissolution of TEMA, but relationships are important, right? Like, and especially when you talk about the weather, which is primarily what we deal with here, but even, you know, roads, even if we were to deal with a hazardous materials type of spill, it's not confined to city limits, right? And we understand that those relationships are extremely important, and the folks that do this, that have the certifications, the trainings, that are passionate about this, have the relationships, they understand those, they understand the dynamics of the incident command structure, and I am confident in everybody's ability that's sitting at the table, whether it be operating or logistics or making the decisions, that things will get done like they need to be done for our community, whether that be the city, or whether that be the county, or whether it be an adjacent community or county. So, Bill touched on it, I just wanted to say that relationships are important, and I'm confident in the ones that we have established here. So, just having said that, this is a quick slide on where we're going. Currently, TEMA is still in existence. We are working, our city legal, City of Tulsa City Legal and Tulsa County are working through an MOU on a separation, a transition to Tulsa County Emergency Management and Tulsa City Emergency Management. When the former director left, that obviously left an opening with TEMA. That's when these discussions started about what is best, like how do we want to move forward. There was an agreement between city and county to have separate emergency management systems, but obviously, you know, work closely, work jointly, and collaborate together. Bill was hired on as the county emergency manager. Mayor Nichols named me to help through the transition for the city of Tulsa. So that's currently where we're operating, working through an MOU. I've got folks for the city looking at that contract. Bill's got his folks, just dividing assets, dividing personnel, figuring out how this is gonna work. From a city perspective, I plan on presenting a budget for the City of Tulsa Emergency Management Office in next year's fiscal year for our personnel, our resources, the things that we're going to need. I don't know what that looks like yet. We do a budget every year for TEMA, so there are dollars that go to TEMA. And so some of those dollars will just be reappropriated to where our office is. And the EOC is another big question that's come up. It will continue to operate in the basement of the police courts building until we move out of there. When we move to the Public Safety Center, we do have construction for a new EOC there. And county is, you know, there'll be office space, availability, and access to them in both of those, so. More
Thank you.
questions? And do you have anything, Bill, you want to add, or?
While we're in the same position, we're going to be submitting our budget in December for the 27 year. We'll be early. That way we've got the county commissioners and, you know, everybody that's in that approval process, you know, up to speed on what we're doing. I think it's important to mention that, you know, we have the EOC. Y'all are welcome down there anytime you want, just to come down and see what we're doing and how the transition's going. We've had folks go down there. Also, I'd like to say, we're going to be available to you just like we are now. There's not going to be any difference. I've been telling everybody you're going to get almost double the effort, right? Because you have 2 EMs, and I've known their folks for decades. So I'm really comfortable about what's going on with that relationship and how much more deeper it's getting. The other thing too, I think that's really helpful is we requested from the state a specific person. The state has, like in Homeland Security, different quads, and they have people assigned to those quads from the Office of Emergency Management. So we requested one of the most seasoned emergency managers in the state to help us through our transition process and to be here for us. So we have direct access to the state if we need something more, and it's worked out really well already with our planning. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to serve the citizens even better than we already are. So, and you all, if you have a question about something that's going on, lawyers, they can call too. You can call my number, that's no problem, and I'll get hold of Laurel, or she'll call me, and we'll get it all figured out for you immediately, right? Or we'll get you some kind of word back. So I think that's important for the elected officials to have that.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Great. That's all I have.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll have a quiet spring.
Yeah, Counselor Bengal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're
Yes,
talking about
go.
EOC, county EOC or Tulsa EOC in the PSC? How'd you like that?
It will be an emergency
Sounds like
operations
alphabet.
center, right?
Right, is that county? Is that a joint
It-
EOC?
It can serve as a joint.
Yeah.
If they, I mean, they have the option to stand up their own, right? Like I said, it's available to county to use if we.
But that's what you're trying to figure out in this process.
I think
so,
we've got
right?
that, pretty much, it's pretty clear. They're gonna have the public safety building, right? And there'll
Right.
be, the EOC will be there.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have a separate county emergency manager, because they're different functions. I'm more strategic in the county and pull resources together and coordinate, and they're tactical to think of that
Right.
way. But what's nice is if they need to come to me, there's space, and if I need to go to them, there's space there.
Okay.
So we can work together.
Got you.
You know, as well as FEMA and the state, and they're all just one big group of.
So
So
another-
really,
if we have a
the
flood-
city's EOC will be in the PSC.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean,
Gotcha.
if you,
Okay.
yeah, want to
Just
title,
want that
if there's another
clarity.
flood incident where we need to, draw these
Right.
resources,
Mm-hmm.
we've got the space at the Public Safety Center
Right.
to adequately
And, we
provide that
did bring up
object.
flood, and that was my flood plan when I was with
Michelle,
the
get it
Corps,
together.
so we're not gonna have a problem. Making sure that's taken care of. I can't guarantee it, because I hate that word, but it'll be good.
Good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Always.
All right. Any other follow-up questions? Thank you all so much. With that, item 10, we are adjourned.